So yeah, I went down to London to check out Grid early. Um, it was fun actually. I feel like this is a game I could get into as sort of a casual racer type deal, like proper racing, but not iRacing GT Sport levels of necessity. Yeah, so you can obviously change the level of customization was pretty impressive. You can turn the driver arms on the wheel off if you want that, field of view, all that kind of stuff. Change difficulty. I had it originally set to medium, but then the first race was a bit too easy, so I upped the difficulty. Yeah, various things that you can do as well. Rear view mirror. Oh, you can enable that. I was curious about the rear view mirror because I didn't have it and I really wanted it. But yeah, you can enable that. You can disable various things. You can basically change the HUD to be entirely how you want. Supposedly someone had it with everything turned off. Yeah, I did a lot better than when I played Crash. Let's put it that way. So let's find... Okay, this was the first race that I did. These are all the different things that you can do. I think I went through them at some point, but I wanted to do the minis as the first race. I think there's wheel support for it, yeah. There isn't sound. Where's the sound gone? Oh, maybe it didn't come through on the footage. There should be sound. There's no reason why everything's muted, so it might not have worked on the footage. Yeah, it hasn't. So we got no sound. Never mind. Just make the sound yourself. All right. The minis had quite an interesting sound, and I'm not even gonna try actually. I think this was the first race, so I kind of like tried to show all the different camera angles. I went through everything just to kind of give an idea of what it was like. Had a bit of an issue on that first corner. This is obviously my preferred camera angle, but they didn't have the again, you can see that they don't have the rear view mirror at the top, but you can enable that. I much prefer that. But I like the customization of it. That's what I've always wanted from racing games. The ability to customize the HUD to this level. Yeah, the minis were really good fun. Is this the game that was free a few months ago? No. This is a game that comes out in the middle of October, I think. It's like a reboot of Grid, which comes from the whole TOCA race driver games as well, which I used to love growing up. Never played the original Grid, but I can definitely see myself getting into this. I don't have manual transmission on now. Again, like I said, the first race was just on medium settings, and then I went into after this race because it ended up being a bit too easy. I went into the settings and upped all the settings. I put manual transmission. I turned the ABS brake and traction control down, stuff like that. But to be honest, I feel like this is one of those games. At least I got the impression from playing it, and the way that I would treat it is kind of like the serious racing that we do in GTA, but a bit more proper. So it's not like I wouldn't necessarily consider it any kind of full-on sim style, taking it that level of seriousness. I would probably just leave whatever assists on that probably made me go as quick as possible, and then just have some fun with it. I mean, it's not, it's still a good driving experience from the physics and stuff like that, but you can certainly see that it's not like a GT Sport. It's not like an iRacing. It's a lot more accessible, I would say, than those games, and that to me makes it a bit more fun. If you're not going to go full on hardcore, in which case you might as well just go on iRacing. and this was a pretty good end as well, pretty close, then this is a good option. Comparable to Forza Horizon. Yeah, I know that GT Sport isn't close to iRacing, but I guess it's the best of what's available on PS4. It's sort of comparable in that more laid back simulator aspect, but it's on proper tracks with, you know, there are some city circuits, but you get some proper circuits mixed in as well. It's kind of like, yeah, it's I don't know. It's difficult to. Again, here I was just trying to showcase the spectator views and stuff like that. The one thing that I hate about in-game cameras, if for racing games, is that barely any of the cameras are realistic. I much prefer it when they just have cameras on the side of the track that look like, you know, how racing cameras do. When you're watching Formula 1 and stuff like that, they're all just at the side of the track and they move along. With in-game cameras, cinematic cameras in racing games, they do all these spinning around the car and stuff like that. I don't like that. No, not pointing at the crowd. I don't mind shots like that every now and again, as if it's like a GoPro in inside. But what games do that? I don't know. It's just, well, like that, like this, like these kind of cameras. These aren't realistic cinematic cameras. That one's okay, but I want to see the race from that perspective all the time. Like I don't want to see, you know, this kind of camera angle, or on the car camera angle. If I'm doing a cinematic camera, I want like that. What's that? How are you going to get a camera to do that? Follow the car like that on the side of the road? But yeah, that's just what I always remember from racing games in the past, to be honest. It's cinematic, not broadcast. Well, that's true, I suppose, but then they should have broadcast cam. But yeah, I think it's definitely, it feels like it's it's trying to be the most accessible proper racing game. You know, like how for us, or at least for me, GTA is so accessible because you can race on it properly with proper cars. So, you know, and you can have proper racing on it, but even people who aren't that great can still race properly. Like, I feel like this has that ability to be accessible like that as well. Because for me, I just don't have the time to race proper simulator games. But I enjoy racing properly, and I enjoy racing with proper cars. I don't want to do it an arcade style. I don't want it to be like full on arcade, but I don't want it to be full on simulator either. And it feels like this is right in that middle balance, nice balance. Alright, so this was the second race. I remember I changed the difficulty after this race. It wasn't for this one, but it was in the rain. I'll be honest, the rain didn't feel like it did too much. Like, it did change the grip a little bit, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like it was too slippery or anything like that. So it's more a visual aspect, to be honest. It wasn't that bad, to be honest. But yeah, this was the retro touring cars class, I think. So you've got all sorts of Volvos and things like that, Alphas in here, which was pretty cool. I sensed a Volvo estate and you just happened to come here. Yeah, the classes that they had in the game were really good, actually. They're really varied. There's so many different sort of racing classes represented. You've got GT cars, you've got LMP cars, there's Alonso's Formula 1 car, the Renault. You've got touring cars, modern and old like this. The minis, one-off type stuff as well. Some really like old things. There is a replay button as well, a go back button like Forza, so that if you do get spun out by AI like there, you can try it again, and then you can set the difficulty as well to only give you a certain amount. So you can in the difficulty section you can change it to, I think on medium you can have 5 of those replays, but you can set it to have 4, 3, 2, 1, or none of them. You can scale it as much as you want, I guess. But yeah, I did this race with medium difficulty, and then I went again, changed all the difficulty to the hardest, put the AI on the hardest, changed the all the ABS stuff like that, and went back to the same race, and I barely got a top 10. So the difficulty does ramp up, and I think it would be a challenge when you get to higher levels of difficulty, certainly. So basically, best game 2019, right? Well, I don't know about that. I'll have to get it and try it. But it wasn't really on my radar before I went down to this. What track is this? This is Silverstone. The shorter version of Silverstone. They do have the full version, and they also have the North version as well. And I heard them say something about they've also got the old layout of Silverstone too, for maybe like older style races as well. I didn't notice any rubber banding with the AI. Like here, once I got out in front, I did just continue to drive away. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It wasn't really on my radar before I went down to this event to go and try it out early, and they just invited me to it, and I thought, why not? Let's check it out. But now it definitely is on my radar. I am genuinely considering playing this semi-regularly, just because it is, it gives you that proper racing feel, and with the proper racing cars, but it is more accessible. It's not that you're going to have to spend hours hot lapping to get the best times and stuff like that. I'm not gonna take it too seriously, and I think that's the best way to approach it. So let me skip ahead to the next race where I had all the difficulty settings turned up. I'll just remove my webcam for a second so you can see that's where the race, the lap counter is, and lap times and stuff like that. But yeah, the AI especially is a lot harder. I didn't notice too much of a difference turning down ABS and stability control, stuff like that. Ultimately, I feel like people will work out what's the quickest, having it on, having it off, stuff like that. And you should just leave it at that. I don't think it makes too much of a difference to how it feels, to be honest. Again, even with all the ABS stuff off, it is going to be a bit harder, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be, a major difference, and it's still going to be, it's not going to immediately turn it into something like iRacing or GT Sport or something. But yeah, this one, as you can see, by the end of the race, this is the last lap, and I'm only in 14th place. I think I managed to get up to 13th or 12th or something, and then I got turned around by another car. But the AI definitely ramps up. So on very hard, which is the highest, I think, you can definitely have a bit of a challenge. Huh. Jamie Chadwick in front. Oh, okay, so they must have real driver names. I didn't even recognize that at the time. Yeah, LMP cars. They've got LMP cars. I'm pretty sure they are from the US series. What's that called again? IMSA. I'm pretty sure they're IMSA cars, because there was only 2 choices, and I think one of them was a Cadillac. So I think they were the IMSA cars. They don't have... they're not LMP1. They're just LMP. Or just, whatever it is they use in IMSA. I don't think they've got Toyotas or anything like that. DPI, yeah. Okay, that wasn't my best moment, that braking zone right there. But yeah, again, they all have their own characteristics, and I think that the difficulty of the AI on this one is on hard, so it's not very hard. But what I found was that like I got up into third place here, and then catching the top two was a bit more difficult. So medium is a little bit too easy. Hard was about right for what I was doing based on the fact that I'd never played the game before and I was, just getting used to it. But I think it wouldn't take long if you're competent enough to start doing very hard difficulty AI-wise. You can also at the start of races do a hot lap qualifying. You basically just do one lap of qualifying and that determines your starting position. I didn't really do that, so I was always starting from the back. Cody's AI is usually like this. You just get stuck in the mid-pack and then one or two AIs just fly away. Yeah, it seems like that's what happened. I don't think I was able to catch up by the end of the race. Oh no, I did. This was the last lap. I did manage to just catch up. I wonder if all of these AI names are real drivers from various things, karting maybe, or lower formula. Weaving about? Where's the steward's room on that? So yeah, here is Alonso's Renault. I didn't give this too much of a try. I just wanted to give it a quick look, see what it was like in the car. This is like a showdown, I think. You drive against Alonso in a sort of 1v1 type thing. I think there's a bit of a sort of career mode story aspect to it. And that's nice. It's always nice when there's a bit of that. I don't know for sure because I didn't really go through it. At least you're going through different race series and progressing through your racing career and stuff like that. But yeah, that was fun, and obviously this car I'm sure will be able to be used in multiplayer races and stuff like that. So yeah, these are all the races. So like you can see there's touring, stock, tuner, GT, Fernando Alonso special series because he's part of the game, and then invitational stuff. That was like the mini that I did. There's like 1960s one-off cars. That's what's in the invitational section. But yeah, I like that there's different things represented. Hill climbs as well. And then there's all sorts of liveries for the cars that I looked at. The cars are all grouped up in those same orders as well. So you've got touring, stock, tuner, GT, invitational. Sort of lots of different cars. And then all the cars have different liveries that can be unlocked and, all that kind of stuff. I think I showed. Yeah. So you can change, like, I think they've got, like, I think the greens are common and then they've got uncommon. I don't know whether any kind of monetization will be put on that and it's something to keep an eye on. Hopefully not. If there's any kind of loot box type thing. Hopefully it's all just in-game stuff. As you can see, there's more rare things. But yeah, there's quite a lot of customization. I don't think there's any actual car customization in terms of upgrading cars to make them faster or body modifications, things like that. But there's quite a lot of like art style modifications. It said tuning in the menu. Oh, it did. Maybe I'm wrong with that then. Maybe you can. I think you can tune the cars a little bit. Like you can change some sliders for like handling or drifting or something like that, but it's very basic tuning. It's not like changing ride heights. Actually, no, I think there is some. It might actually be more tuning than what I'm giving it credit for. Not upgrading or anything, but you can tune the cars to drive differently. I think now that I think about it. So yeah, we did some multiplayer races at the very end with just the people who were there. Again, I'd turned down all my difficulty settings, so I don't know what everybody else was racing on, but I was racing on little, not much ABS, not much stability control, traction control, anything like that. But I had a good race anyway. A lot of the people in there was obviously people there who were just like me, who had come and were trying it out for the first time, but then there was a few people like the host there, for example, and there was quite a few other people who had were part of like the community team for the game, so they'd been playing it a little bit, and this turned out to be a pretty good race, so I figured I'd show this multiplayer race towards the end. But yeah, as you can see, there's some city tracks. There is a mix of real world and city tracks. I hope that they get more real world tracks in there, because I feel like it could do with more, at least for longevity of maybe multiplayer stuff. I don't know how they're going to prolong the game. And I don't know how the multiplayer is going to work in terms of joining lobbies, creating lobbies, things like that. I was learning my way on this track on this first lap, by the way. But it does look fun. I don't know how many you're going to be able to have in a race either. Hopefully it's 16 or more. I would like to see it be even more. That's one of the best things about GTA, that we do 30-player races. But based on the fact that there's so much customization to the display, like you can move I don't think you can move these things around, but you can turn them off or turn them on as you like. The leaderboard, say in the top left of the map, or the rear view mirror, like I said. I'm hoping that there'll be quite a lot of customization available for the multiplayer stuff, so you can lock people to the same car and the same tuning, things like that. Because again, if it's aiming at that sort of middle ground, or at least whether they're aiming for that, I don't know, but at least this is where I place it, in that middle ground, where you don't have to take it too seriously. It would be nice to just be able to load up a multiplayer lobby, know that everybody's driving the same car, and maybe the same assists and stuff like that as well. And just jump into some races, do some LMP races, do some old BTCC style touring car races. It's just the sort of thing that it feels like a racing game that you can just jump into and have a bit of fun with. You don't need to be, like I said, hot lapping all the time and staying on top of it, knowing what the best cars are, getting all the tuning perfect, things like that. And yeah, like I said, this final multiplayer race was pretty fun. It was pretty close. I could have won it as well, but I messed up big time towards the end. But it was really close all the way through. But yeah, I am intrigued by it. Let's put it that way. I'm somewhat excited about it. It was, like I said, it wasn't on my radar at all. But now that I've actually played it and seen all the different things that you can do with it, and how I think it was Nismo earlier asking about the handling because he wasn't here earlier. It's not sim handling, but it's not, arcade handling. Into the lead! Got a mega slipstream there on the final lap. And then messed it up the first corner. This was some good final lappage. We swapped positions quite a lot. Yes, there is damage. You can turn damage off completely. You can have it like small. I think you can have it sort of... You can have full damage, or there's something in between as well, damage-wise. But yeah, it just seems really, it seems like the racing game that I've always wanted to play, where I don't have to be taking it too seriously. I can do some proper racing, but I don't have to be playing it every day, or continually playing it every week and taking it too seriously. I can just jump in and do some racing with some fun cars. That's kind of what I've wanted for a racing game, because the simulator stuff, one, I don't have time for it, and two, I just get bored too easily. Especially after having raced in real life, it's kind of like I'd rather just be racing in real life instead. Coming up to the final part of the track, I thought I was going to do well there, and then I just cut that corner too much and hit the inside barrier. I was so close to being like, you know, on the position to overtake for the lead. And then we've got the lobby host just behind us, so we've got a four-way battle basically going to the line. Yeah, it was a really good race, this final multiplayer race, but you know, I think it was a good showcase of the kind of fun that we can have with some racing on this game. So yeah, it's something that I'm gonna definitely look into you know, streaming a little bit, and then maybe I can make some videos on what we do there as well. But that's how close it was at the end. But yeah, for having not been on my radar completely, it looks like it'll be good fun.